Dudes, welcome to Sense of Style. My name's Stuart. Thanks for tuning in. Today I have 10 inexpensive fragrances for you. What I mean by inexpensive is they're going to be $36 US or less at the discounters. So there's going to be no, and that's for a full bottle. There's going to be no 50 milliliters, no cheating. There is one fragrance that's 38, but I'll get to that later. So generally we're talking pretty inexpensive. And here's the thing. When I used to see these videos, I was always like, oh, I don't want to waste money on buying a cheap fragrance. I don't want to do it. I just kind of ignored them. And that's a mistake. And to prove it, my very first fragrance is an honorable mention because it's no longer cheapy. This is Him by Hannu Mori. Hannu Mori is actually the fourth designer that passed away this year, although she was 96, so she had a good run. But this is a super popular fragrance that came out in 2012, and it smells like Gucci pour Homme 2. It's very sort of gourmandy. There's like violet leaf and tonka and cardamom, and it's very gourmandy. It's very nice. Also similar to Spice Bomb. So yeah, 2 years ago I got this for $30 US at the discounter, and I knew it's a great fragrance, so I went looking for it. Well, wouldn't you know it, it was discontinued then, but they still had plenty of supplies of this at the discounters. But now they've run out because the best, and I took half an hour to find the best price I could. The best price I can get for 100 milliliters of this is $125 US. That's not including taxes or shipping. So really, if a fragrance is good, it's just good. It doesn't matter what price it is. I am not joking. Best Buy Canada, I don't know why Best Buy are selling fragrances, but they do. Best Buy Canada has 100 milliliters of this right now for 500 Canadian dollars. That's just under 400 US. And I bought it 2 years ago. This 50 mil for $30. You never know. All right, so let's get to the real list, and let's get this one out of the way. This one is Club de Nuit Intense Man by Armaf. Most people know about this already. It's the Aventus, really good Aventus clone. It's got the sort of bergamot and pineapple opening with the smoky birch dry down. Now, this wasn't the very first sort of Aventus style fragrance that I tried. The very first one I tried was this. This is Mont Blanc Explorer. And when I tried this, it's much more subtle Aventus. It's much more subdued. It's a better quality fragrance than Club de Nuit Intense Man, but it's not really an Aventus clone. It's more similar to Aventus. And so I tried that, and I was like, well, I don't get this whole Aventus hype thing. And then when I bought this, this explodes off your skin. This is much closer to the real Aventus, but the first few minutes, not good. Lemon Pledge, but man, oh man, this is a great fragrance. You get 106 milliliters of this for $36 at the discounters. This is one that is kind of a staple in the cheapie, so I'm not going to get into it too much. This next one, though, has been under the radar for a long time, and it's finally getting some due. This is Vera Wang for men. Now you can get 100 milliliters of this for $31 at the discounters, and the thing about this one is it's very similar to this, which is Dolce & Gabbana, the one, Eau de Toilette. Now, the thing is, they kind of look a little bit similar, don't they? They kind of look a little bit similar, but the thing is, this came 4 years before this, so it wasn't like any copying going on. And this is actually kind of an iconic fragrance, although it's notorious for having poor performance. This smells very similar to this, and yet this is cheaper, and actually, it might have a little bit better performance. The only real difference between this and the one EDT is that this has a yuzu note off the top. Yuzu is like a citrusy fruit from Eastern Asia, and so you do get some yuzu off the top, and so you get that citrus a little bit opening, but really it turns down into a really smooth, sweet tobacco fragrance. And for 31 bucks, if you like the one and you don't want to spend too much money and you just want to spray every now and again, this is a really good one. By the way, I'm going to put up a picture of Vera Wang. She's 73 years old. I don't know how she does it. It's crazy. She looks like she's in her 40s. Okay, so next up is a fragrance that I see in all the collectors' collections. This is CK1 Shock Calvin Klein, and this is a really super inexpensive spicy tobacco fragrance. It's even cheaper than Burberry London, although I actually prefer this to Burberry London. The performance normally for Calvin Klein is like terrible. This performance is very, very solid. And yeah, this is a spicy tobacco fragrance. Really good price. You can get this for $23 for 100 milliliters. The interesting thing about this one is the perfumer of this, her name is Anne Gottlieb. She's an American from New York, and she did 24 of the Axe body spray fragrances. So yeah, she knows a few things about men fragrances, but yeah, don't hold that against her. You know, if you don't like Axe, this is actually really, really nice. Next up, we've got Hugo Reverse. This was part of my unboxing. Hugo Boss. A lot of people compare this to Elysium by Roja Parfum. Don't do it. Elysium, I just actually, before the video took place, I actually put some Elysium on. I have a sample, and Elysium, and I don't want to say so many good things about Elysium because you'll think I don't like this, but it's not true. But Elysium is absolutely spectacular in the opening. It's got every citrus note imaginable, and it's an absolute explosion, and I don't even like citrus fragrances. To compare this to Elysium is really unfair to this. Don't even think of that comparison, although this is a really nice $35 fragrance unto its own. It's got really nice, much milder citrus opening of grapefruit and bergamot. There's some rosemary in the mid. You've got some vetiver in the dry down that really smooths this one out. This is a really nice fragrance, actually. If you really like fresh fragrances, this is a good one. Just don't compare it to Elysium. Now, this next fragrance is more of a mid-range brand. This is from Versace. This is Mano Fresh by Versace. Now, I point that out because this one is the only one on the list that's a little bit more than 36. This is 38. You can get a tester of this at the moment for 38. But as I said, Versace is a mid-range fragrance brand. Some of these are meant to be inexpensive, not this guy. It's good timing for getting a tester for this. But what it's got that makes it different and appealing is a starfruit note. When I first saw the reviewers say, well, it's got starfruit, that makes it different, I was like rolling my eyes and going, yeah, whatever. But really, I have to admit, they were right. I like the starfruit note. It does make it different, and it does add a little something to, straight citrus fragrance. And you've got the Versace quality to rely on. So for $38, that's a heck of a deal. So the next up fragrance is All Me. This is one that I adore. I've always adored. I almost bought a 200 ml bottle of it, and I thought, what in the hell am I going to do with 200 mils? I can hardly get rid of this 30 ml, but this is Burberry Brit. I love this fragrance. It's a spicy rose. It's got rose, and you would think, oh, it's, feminine, but no, there's a lot of spiciness. There's ginger, there's cardamom, there's nutmeg, and that sort of compensates for any hint of femininity you get. And then the dry down, there's a really nice tonka. A really, really nice, underrated fragrance. You can get 100 milliliters of this for $32. And yeah, this is just me. This is one that I really like. Yeah, I had to put it on the list. If you're looking for another fragrance that might sort of take off price-wise, it's inexpensive, I think it's this one. This one is Mont Blanc Individuel, and Jeremy Fragrance has hyped this one to oblivion, so you don't see other people talking about it very much because it's kind of got overkill, but he's not wrong. This one is really nice. This is raspberry sandalwood fragrance. There's a lot of sweetness in this. I've heard raspberry fabric softener. I think that's fair. This one at the moment is $23 for 75 milliliters. I could see this one. It's been discontinued, but if ever they run out of stock, I could see this one going through the roof because it's very different and it's very appealing. This next one is Rochas Man, and this was part of my unboxing, and I'm wearing it more and more. I really, really like this one. This is coffee and vanilla, and yet it's surprisingly fresh. You can get a tester of this, 100 milliliter tester. In fact, pretty much this bottle, because this is a tester, for $33. And this is a super popular fragrance that I kept hearing about, and I finally, caved in, and they were right. Now, I used to work at a coffee company, and one of the perks we got was we were able to go into the dining room and have like all these expensive coffees, like caramel coffee, like dripping and super sweet. And really, that's what this smells like. It smells like a really sweet kind of caramelly kind of coffee. It's surprisingly rich It's surprisingly decadent for a $33 fragrance. I can see why this one was hyped up and been talked about by so many people for so long. Next up we have Tommy Bahama St. Bart's, set sale St. Bart's, and this one is an eau de cologne. It's $20, so you're going to get about 2 hours in terms of performance. It's meant to be worn in the heat of the summer. This is summer, not spring, but man, is this nice. You know, I mean, there's a lot of like negatives, like the performance is not super fantastic, but you're going to be wearing it in the heat, so you will get your, 2, maybe 3 hours, and it just smells like summer. This is actually very similar to Virgin Island Water by Creed, but it's more Mexican tropical than Caribbean tropical. So this is more tequila and lime and guava, like exotic tropical fruits. And I don't get a ton of tequila in it, but I'm okay with that. It's just very tropical, very clean, and very fresh. And I'm going to be wearing this one in the next week to get the most out of August. Don't sleep on this one. Super nice cheapie. This next up fragrance is Perry Ellis 360 Red. This is a clone of the original Acqua di Gio. Now, the thing about Acqua di Gio is they've got a lot of good sort of updated fragrances, things like Profondo and Profumo, and so not a lot of people are buying the original. But this is very, very cheap version of the original. You can get the, I think at the discounters it's like $68 for the Acqua di Gio. This is $25. This is a hell of a buy. It's just like Acqua di Gio, a little bit better performance and a sprinkling of cinnamon to give it a little bit of spiciness. But man, like if you like Acqua di Gio and you've got Profondo or Profumo and those are expensive fragrances and you just want to hang on to them, and just buy one of these. You get the Acqua di Gio vibe. You get 4, 5, maybe 6 hours of performance from this, and you don't have to, you can save your more expensive fragrance for other situations. But I've always been high on Perry Ellis 360 Red because it just works. It just works. Anyway, those are 10, and hopefully there's a sort of a hidden Hanamore hymn in there somewhere. But these are 10 cheapies, 10 inexpensive fragrances that are worth trying. Thanks for watching.